The days after Diamond refused cola were hard. Very hard. Money finished quickly, food became simple, sometimes only Gary and water. Yet every morning, Sandra still sang. Not for crowds, not for offerings, but for God. Her voice filled the small house with worship, songs she learned and refined through Mega Voice, where she had been taught that praise is a weapon. Worship invites God's presence. A voice lifted to God never returns empty. Diamond would sit quietly, listening. Even in hunger, peace remained, because God was there. Sandra often said softly, "When you stay in God's presence, shame cannot stay with you. Shame only returns when we leave him deliberately." But the enemy was not done. One evening, Diamond received another message. Not from Cola, from a popular club promoter. "We heard your story," the man wrote. "You have talent, strong voice, strong influence. We want you performing in clubs, big money every night." Diamond showed Sandra. She read it slowly. Club stages, drinking crowds, dirty lyrics, fast money. The same trap, just packaged differently. "They don't want your voice for God," Sandra whispered. "They want to pull you away from his presence." Diamond felt tears rise. "But Mama, we need money." Sandra held his hands. "My son, your gift is an altar. Whatever you place it on will control your life." Silence filled the room. Then she said gently, "Better to be small with God than big without him." That night Diamond cried like a child. "Lord, why is doing right so hard?" Sandra joined him on the floor. They sang softly together, a worship song Sandra had mastered during training. "I will not leave your presence for anything this world can give." Their voices broke with tears. And suddenly, peace flooded the room again. The next day, Cola appeared again. Angry.
You rejected money.
"You rejected money.
And now you're rejecting
Now you're refusing
opportunities.
opportunities too?" he shouted. "You think God will feed you with prayers?" He stepped closer. "You either join us or I expose you everywhere. I'll tell people your past crimes. I'll destroy your reputation." Diamond trembled. Sandra stood between them. My son belongs to God now." Cola laughed wickedly. "Then watch God fail you." He walked away. And that was the moment Sandra nearly broke. That night Sandra couldn't sleep. Fear pressed her chest. But suddenly a song rose in her spirit, one she had written during a voice training session about trusting God in storms. She stood and sang with all her strength. "Though the waters rise, my God will not fail. Those who wait on him shall never know shame." Diamond joined her. Their worship turned into a cry. And heaven listened. 2 days later, a call came. From a gospel concert organizer. "We heard Sandra Steve's testimony and worship online. We want her to minister across 3 cities, all expenses paid, generous honorarium." Sandra dropped the phone and wept. That same week, a church offered Diamond a paid music assistant role. Another ministry offered him free training and mentorship. Not club money, but clean money. God's money. Enough to survive. Enough to grow. Enough to restore dignity. Sandra smiled through tears and said, "See, my son, when you stay with God, he will never put you to shame." Later that month, news spread. Cola and his gang were arrested. Finally. Years of fraud uncovered. Everyone connected to him lost everything. Diamond would have been among them if he had gone back. Diamond collapsed in worship. "Lord, you saved me again." Sandra lifted her hands. One with God will never be put to shame, except when we leave his presence and chase sin. Today, Sandra now teaches worship and vocal excellence with Mega Voice training team.
Now,
Diamond ministers through music and youth outreach. Their home is filled with praise instead of pain. Their story became proof that grace restores, that worship protects, that obedience preserves, and that no one who stays with God ends in shame. But Sandra always warns, deliverance is not the end. Staying in God's presence is the victory. Because the journey of faith doesn't end in miracles. It continues in daily choices. Watch out for part 6.